Now we move on to the fourth seal judgment, that of the pale horse and its rider. We find here with this pale horse that the term pale doesn't actually mean like a pale white like we would think, but it's actually a faded yellowish green color. It's a very unpleasant color, a pallid color, a color someone would be if they looked very sickly. It's an ideal color for this particular horse because this horse represents death. In fact, this horse represents death in 4 forms that are named in this passage. Represents death by sword, which would be violence and warfare. It represents death by hunger. We already saw how that can happen, how great famine can happen. Death through disease, weakness, and other internal health issues, all of which can happen as a result of the first 2. And death as a result of beasts or animals of the earth. That is, animals becoming very vicious. And of course, that can cause disease as well. It's a very unpleasant time to live, to be sure. And any kind of physical peace at this time that one can find would be considered a great blessing. We think we know what physical blessings are right now. We don't. We live in the lap of absolute luxury. Even many of us who live in abject poverty still live in the lap of luxury compared to what the world is going to be like during the Great Tribulation. You and I can't imagine what these folks are going to be going through unless they're sold out to the Antichrist. Then they'll live entirely different lives. They will have gained the whole world, but will have lost their soul, and we'll see that later. This fourth seal judgment is the first judgment that actually defines the death of mankind as beginning to occur. And it does cite that 1/4 of all mankind will die during this fourth seal judgment. Romans 6:23 tells us that the wages of sin is death. The rider of this fourth pale horse is literally named Death. The rider of this horse is accompanied by hell, Hades, and we see the Lord's full-scale judgment upon a Christ-rejecting world. And he's using Satan's minions. That is, he's using Satan's vices in order to begin executing his own judgment. If we want to talk about poetic justice, this is poetic justice. The Lord is going to allow Satan to begin executing his own judgment upon the earth, and then the Lord will finish the judgment, and then will execute judgment upon Satan. Just as an overview of what we have been looking at so far, the result of the opening of the fourth seal will undoubtedly be a condition of mass chaos over the entire earth. This is when we're really going to see mass chaos, mass turmoil. Government systems will fall. National borders will collapse. Famine and pestilence will be rampant. Animals, even ones that we're probably used to seeing as being fairly peaceful and domesticated, will become savage, most likely as a result of the lack of food. And the human death toll will be staggering. Just imagine, we may have upwards of 8 billion people on planet Earth. 1/4 of that is 2 billion people. I don't know the exact time frame that takes place here, but even if you have 2 billion people die off in a period of 3.5 years, that's a lot of people. That's just like watching people drop like flies all around you. That's an insane number of people dying off on a daily basis. People dying so quickly there's no way to dig graves to bury them. You can't imagine what the conditions will be like. I'm just trying to draw the picture for you of how horrid it's going to be. And people think that if they've heard of Christ before this happens, and then they see this happening, they're going to run to Christ. They're going to hate Christ with a passion. And as we saw in our last message, he will send them a strong delusion that they will believe the lie because they've already heard the truth and they rejected it before this judgment. What do you think they're going to think now? These conditions, of course, are going to set a perfect stage on which the Antichrist will appear as mankind's last hope for survival. He's going to be seen by the masses as a savior of the people. But of course, as we well know, he is in no way a savior of their souls.